with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Awesome show. All kind of great stuff we'll talk about, and not a rerun. We're doing this this holiday weekend. A lot of people are just taking off, and realtors especially. And our team's been working hard, doubling down all the way through the holidays and continuing that momentum into 2024. So excited to be here. Got lots of great stuff we'll talk about today. We've had huge news in the mortgage world the last couple of weeks. We talked about interest rates actually hit a new 7-month low last week, which was amazing. So it's perfect timing, kind of teeing up this amazing scenario for first 2 weeks of January to get a lot of buyers who've been on the sidelines back in the game. We've even seen some of that the week before Christmas, and we're seeing that back in this week a little bit too. We'll talk about what's going on, but I think we'll see a huge January with a lot of buyers who've been on the sidelines jump back in the game because of that. We'll talk about what's going on with rates, what they did. They hit a 7-month low, bumped up a little bit, but they're still in the sixes, which is great news overall in that scenario. We'll also have something I know last week's show just didn't have a chance to get to is some simple tips on getting your house ready for selling the winter market. Just a lot of little simple things to do that can really help bring extra ROI, a little bit more traffic, so to speak, to the property, which is great overall with that. Also, I'll look at pending deals nationally versus here locally. We'll kind of review and say, look, let's look back at 2023 overall and look at the rolling 12-month numbers, how we stack up, what happened. Next 2 weeks from now, we'll do the overall 2023 review show. Just lots of great stuff. We'll kind of get a good feel of what's going on right now, kind of what to look at overall. Some amazing success stories. A potential horror story where a lady called in. I'll talk about. Was listening to her brother. Her brother said the house worth $225, and actually the house worth $350,000. And we helped kind of save her in that just by her making that phone call to us. And we'll talk about kind of what's going on with that, and just another example of why it's so important to have a professional when you're dealing with, for most people, their largest assets, and especially when you're talking about the internet these days. Some of the data is just not right? It doesn't have the right information about your property or the properties around you, which can affect that, which is why you always want to have a little bit of a human valuation to kind of back it up overall. As usual, my team, we have a large investment fund with millions of dollars in it, looking to buy properties here on the Grand Strand, as is Easy Cash. Basically, we give you an upfront cash offer, a fair cash offer, close as little as in 5 or 6 days. As soon as they get the title work done, can close further out if you like to. We've done some almost 3 months where they wanted the time to build of their new house, and we made that offer for them. But looking for fair price here. If you want an instant buyout, you can always get that. Overall, reach out to me, call us. You can go to blakesloan.com. There's actually a little box up top. You can put your address in and get a cash offer right online there, which is super simple. And also in 2024, we're continuing to grow, as I mentioned, as a lot of agents have been running for the hills. Tens of thousands of agents been getting out their business. We've been doubling down, looking to capture market share, looking to grow. And so we're looking to grow our team in 2024. Anybody that's listening is a real estate agent now. If you want to make sure you can grow your business, serve clients at the highest level, be able to plug into a system that's proven repeatable, reach out to me. Also, if you're in a different industry thinking about getting real estate, we have a scholarship through our real estate school that we own that we're able to offer to certain candidates and basically pay for your real estate school, give your tuition paid for, and help train you up to be able to serve clients at the highest level. And so if you want to know more how that works, reach out to me. You can also go to sloanscholarship.com. But lots of great stuff to talk about. We'll finish out 2023 and talk about what to look for going into 2024.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you just tuned in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realty magazine, other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also with Fox and Brett, the morning show. You've heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Hannity, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary Lavatz. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing. But the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Absolutely. And that's just something that, like I said, I made a promise in this show at 14 plus years. And our main goal of the show is the same thing we've been doing for 14 plus years, just give you value, help you make the better decisions with your largest assets, keep you up to date with what's happening for the real estate market. We know it fluctuates, goes ups and down, and just help you be informed. And so that we help people be more informed to make better decisions, have better conversations with people they like and know, and their family. And so the one thing we talk about is like, how do you make better decisions? I see the same mistake made over and over and over, and it's by far the largest mistake I see anyone make, no matter how affluent they are, no matter how many houses they sold, no matter how many investment properties they have, they still make this mistake. And I see it over and over and over. And that comes down to making the mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. And it could not be any further from the truth. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, if you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, the last thing you want is some part-time attorney who's a friend of a friend who's only tried a few cases. But for some reason, they'll gamble with the largest asset by a friend or friend agent who sold 3 houses last year. And what we find is that most people just don't really understand or have a criteria on how to pick a real estate agent. So they'll spend 30 years building their equity, or 20 years, 30 years to building a hard equity, and then they'll spend 15 minutes picking an agent. And they'll get information from a friend who doesn't really know how to pick agents either. And it's the same exact thing. And so the bottom line is, I want to share every single week, if you take anything from the show at all, is the single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes into one thing and one thing only. That thing is the agent that you choose, period. And because it's a very long sales cycle on a very high touch product, which is your house, and there's so many nuances that make or break the home sale where the ball can get dropped. So for example, when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one of those is handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket and the property gets sold. If anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, and that could be, does the agent answer the telephone? Does an agent respond to web leads that come online? What's the pricing strategy? What's the photo quality? What's the order of the photos? What's the negotiation strategy? All these things make or break the home sale. And what happens is you find that most agents just flat out mismanage them. And the reason that is because they can't juggle all the balls, right? There's no possible way that one single person can effectively juggle 118 different variables on one listing, much less 4, 5, 6, and 10 listings like you see a lot of agents have. And so what happens is they just get the squeaky wheel, right? They throw a bunch against the wall and see what sticks. And that's why most properties end up not selling. Or what really happens most of the time is they sell, but they sold at a much larger discount than they actually should have or could have because those variables weren't managed proactively. And so what you find is most agents just do the 3 Ps, like I talk about all the time, is when they promise you the world to get the listing. They say anything and everything you want. Usually the number one, they're going to do this, and basically nothing that's any tangible value. And the second thing they do is they just put it into MLS. They take some photos, put it into MLS. And 3, they sit back and just pray that someone else brings a buyer, and they split the commission half and half, and it works out perfect for them. But ultimately, it hurt the home seller the most because they lost out in their hard-earned equity by having to drop the price, or it was priced low because the agent's trying to survive. And if you understand the mathematics behind it, the average agent in our marketplace sells 4 homes per year. That's 1 per quarter. There's not enough money to eat with, put food on the table with at 4 homes a year, much less spend any amount of marketing to try to get your property sold. And so just step back and say, all right, look, the average agent sells 4 homes a year. What can they really do for you besides put an MLS and put a for sale sign? And that's really it. And so it's the same thing there in that standpoint. And what you also find is that brokerages don't advertise your house either. They advertise their brand. But if you understand the difference between any real estate company, there's only one main difference. The only main difference is how they pay their agents. And that's it, right? There's a different splits and things they have of their company versus agent, but nothing that actually matches and actually advertises your home overall. And so that's what we did, is took a broken model and said, look, there's got to be a better way. How do we fix this? And how do we make this disconnected model where when I was at a big box store at Coldwell Banker, it was me and 200 plus agents. They didn't care about me. I didn't care about them. If any case, many of them hated me because I was selling stuff and they weren't, and they were trying to take my leads in many cases. And so what happens, there was zero alignment in terms of the organization. And there was just everybody under one big brand, but no one was really aligned. So what I did was say, look, how do we take this and create a team where everyone's in alignment with a team of specialists? Each person specializes in what they do, so they're very, very good at it, and they don't miss any details. And then we create alignment within the organization. That's exactly what we did. It created a team model that's all within a brokerage. And so the brokerage is the team itself, and everyone's a specialist. We back that up with one main thing, which is technology. And so now you have a team of specialists where each person does exactly what they're supposed to do. We have inside sales, we have outside sales, we have buyer specialists, listing specialists, we have a graphic design person, a video person, a photo person, a listing specialist, 2 closing coordinators, all these things that we have to make sure every possible detail is handled correctly, and more importantly, proactively before the problem comes up, which allows us to create small gaps for our clients at every single one of those variable points. And you stack all those up, it creates a massive competitive advantage for the client. At the end, it's simple business, right? Fundamentals, right? Like, for example, if I can make sure that every single one of those dominoes are lined up, right? Variable 1, variable 2, variable 3 are lined up in the right order, and we knock them over the same exact way every single time, it creates a particular result for our client. And that's how we sell properties faster and for more money. And what happened was there was a lot of extra advantage to that model, where now, because of our efficiency in terms of our follow-up, in terms of our company of specialists, we can then afford to spend more money to acquire leads on the buyer side. And so we have thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of buyers who are looking to buy. Well, we have these thing called buyer and waiting. We can match those buyers up with the sellers. And what we found was it was actually helping us sell properties faster because of those things that we had in place. And so we designed this system called the Guaranteed Sold System. It's the only proven system that sells homes twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well, right? I designed it. It's exclusive to us. We trademarked it. We do license it to some other parts of the country, but it's exclusive to us here, and it works very, very, very well. So some have tried to imitate it, yes, but in terms of the actual business model and the success of it, right? That's what got us in Forbes and Wall Street Journal and Realtor Magazine, all these things, because we were able to create a predictable model. And all we did was look at and say, hey, what do people do outside of real estate with real businesses? And how do we create that same type of result in real estate? And that's exactly what we did. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years with just mentors and guides and coaches and people outside of our industry to help guide me to create these systems. And so that's what we do for our clients. And that's why I share that, because this is not just a Best Buy TV you're getting, right? Or buying or selling. This is your largest asset for most people, or at least one of the largest assets that people have, whether it be personal or investment or commercial. It's one of those things that you want to make sure it's handled by a true expert, especially in the marketplace right now that's a lot slower and every single detail matters. On the flip side, it's very similar for buyers out there. There's 100 plus variables that have to be handled correctly when you're buying. If each one's handled correctly, it saves you money and you get the property you want. If anything's handled incorrectly, either don't get the property or you overpay or miss out on something that costs you your hard-earned money when you're purchasing. So we designed this system there very similar, called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get your product access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best deals for anyone else. And more importantly, get you the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as a home inspection to get you that closing table successfully. But who you use matters more than anything else. And just like I mentioned before, if you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, you want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law. You should demand that same level of excellence when you're dealing with your largest asset, and all the way down to anything that you do that deals with people, right? If you go to a restaurant, sometimes you have a fantastic experience. Sometimes you have a terrible experience. The difference there is the people, right? The same exact thing in a service-based business like real estate, and that's why you want the absolute best. So if you want to know more how it works, reach out to me. Call me, 843-808-SOLD. You can also check it out at blakesloan.com anytime. Take a quick break, right back in a second.
Here, the real estate market is constantly changing. Now, here to give us more insight into this is my friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, I know certain programs make it a lot easier for the seller. Which ones do you offer? Hey, Sean, in addition to our traditional program that sells your home for top dollar, you have an instant offer, a multi-offer, and a guaranteed offer program. I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars who are looking to buy a home in the Grand Strand right now. And what kind of return can you expect from them? Here's what I'll say. Every seller's needs are different. Some need maximum convenience, and we deliver that every single time. Some need the most amount of money, and we have a program for that as well. We have a trademark program that nets sellers up to 5 to 10% more money than traditional industry methods. All right, great insight, and thank you for this update. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD, or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Gordon. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options for home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. If sellers at time crunch, you can agree to sell the on a certain date, they after your home.
That's great. And if the seller has a bid more time,
Use our approved marketing plan and sell for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update. We got all kind of stuff going on. We'll dig in deeper than we usually do. Just looking back and say, look, what's happened the last 12 months? This is going to be pretty much last December through this December. And then next month, 2 weeks from now, we'll do the overall January to December numbers. But it's interesting to kind of look kind of what's happening. We'll also dig into those rearview mirror numbers we talk about versus the windshield numbers we talk about every week. And what that is what new properties went under contract versus what actually closed. Because if it closed last month, it went under contract 36 days prior to that. And so you want to make sure you kind of just keep your hand on both types of data so I can make better decisions. So last week, in terms of properties going under contract, it was fairly slow just because it's Christmas week. It just significant drop. So if you look last week's show before Christmas, we saw a significant little bump because rates dropped back down. Last week's show, 394 properties under contract in the entire Grand Strand for $138,877,000, which is low compared to usual, right? Anything 200 million and above is kind of rock and rolling, but it's been slow the past, between Thanksgiving and Christmas there in terms of actual numbers. The overall properties, 6 properties are $1 million, 60 properties are $500,000. If you go to this week, though, significant drop, about a 40% drop overall. So this week, only 244 properties went under contract. We had a good amount of those. Our team was still pushing hard through the holidays, a 38% drop week over week. Volume-wise, only 84,301,000 under contract, which is a 39.33% drop. And only 3 properties are $1 million under contract, and 31 properties are $500,000 went under contract. So you can tell it's a little bit slow there. That's pretty typical for Christmas week, where some people are just in place. They're obviously not focused on buying. Some are trying to get something locked up for the end of the year. But it's very, very interesting to kind of look and understand. I know a lot of attorneys are even closed the last couple of weeks of the year. So it's been really a push for some of us to close some of our deals that were closed deals. And some got pushed into January just due to some attorneys not being there, then also the courthouse being closed a few days. But it's still, I think, a lot of that pent up demand from buyers who've been waiting for rates to come back down are excited. We've been on the phones like crazy. Our internet traffic has been up through the roof. People just looking and kind of getting back online, and who kind of got priced out before due to interest rates are back in now, which is very, very interesting. So really quick, looking at the overall macro market, which is the entire Grand Strand. Last month, I'll talk really quick for a recap. They did very decent last month in terms of prices. Sales were flat, looking at November versus November. So 377 home sales this November, pretty close where last November was 380. So a 0.8% decline, not that bad overall. Sales price did phenomenal versus last year. And I think that's also because November took a little bit of a dive, but prices for median price up 5.2% at 380,000. Average sale price up significantly. We hit a new high here in the entire Grand Strand for average sale price, up 16.4% from last November, which is crazy. Last November, 444,000. This year, 584. If you remember last week, we talked about the micro market. Some areas had 30% drop in sales. Some had 30% increase in sales based on what part of the beach they were in. So that's something you want to dig down into the micro market. I can just tell as a whole, that 16% average number is definitely a little bit skewed because we're not seeing that really across the board in most areas. We'll talk about that in a minute for the 12-month. One thing that's still protecting prices so much is inventory. Inventory is still very, very low right now, 3.5 months inventory. Like I say every week, anything less than 6 months is a seller's market. Anything more than 6 months is a buyer's market, meaning the buyer has the advantage. And so right now you're still in a super seller's market, meaning inventory is still very, very low. I was looking, just kind of prepping for the show. One of the things we look at and watch the quote, the U.S. is short 4.5 to 5 million homes, says RE/MAX CEO Nick Bailey on housing demand. So what's happening, there's still a 5 million unit home shortage out there, which is what's protecting price, right? We have some people out there waiting for the crash, so to speak. It's just not going to happen, number-wise, because what's happened is after the 2008 crisis, there was just such a long period where developers didn't build. Remember, there were so many just concrete pads sitting, vacant forever. A lot of the builders got wiped out. And what happened was there just wasn't enough building to keep up with population growth during those years. And so it didn't really pick up until like 2013. And so what's happening between those years, 2008, 2013, there wasn't enough new builds. And so now we have this huge shortage with almost 5 million homes right now. And that's what it's talking about. So even if there was some type of issue, there's a shortage of homes, which is what's keeping prices very, very high. Now you still, and on top of that, rates that have gone up and a lot of home sales are locked in at 2-3%. Some at 4%. They want to move, they can't move because they can't get the same value. And so that's very, very interesting to look overall. And the one thing that's kind of keep in mind, it just goes down to like, this is super simple in terms of getting success in property sold. Like it all comes down to traffic. Like as a real estate agent, I'm a marketer in the real estate business. Like, I can't make somebody buy your house. My job is to get them to look at your house. And so what I'm good at is getting eyeballs online, getting salespeople to call those people, get them to push them, obviously come and look at your house overall. And then once they come to the house, obviously they like or they don't. And there's certain ways you can, have great conversations around that and kind of, sell. But I've sold thousands of houses. They know in 2 seconds if they like the house or not. My job is how do I get people to look at the house? And so that's what you want to make sure you look at. But if you look at right now in the MLS, showings per listing is getting 3.5 showings per listing, a 5.4% decrease from last year. But if it takes the average amount of showings to pending, which is the amount of showings each listing gets on average before they get a contract, and it's tracked through our showing software that the entire MLS uses, it takes 13.5. So again, the average listing right now on the MLS is only getting 3.5 showings. But the problem is, to get an offer, it needs 13.5 showings. And that's where the marketing comes in. That's why it's important you have an agent who understands marketing, who can spend money on marketing to get eyeballs on the property, to get more buyer traffic in there. Because what's happening, and you used to be able to get away when the market was a frenzy, putting some, photos from a cell phone online. Your friend or friend of an agent who just got their license can probably get the deal done. But now there's just not enough traffic out there. And so that's why, if you look, the average showings only getting, like I said, 3.5 showings per listing. And the average contract it takes, the average showings in a contract is 13.5. And so that's one number we've been really pushing on and kind of hounding on to make sure that we're getting the right traffic for our clients. And that's one thing that just comes down to exposure and also phone calls from the team standpoint. So that's interesting. Looking back really quick, I want to talk about the 12-month rolling average. That's really what you look at the most. Like, hey, if you look at year over year, what's happening? If you look at the last 12 months, sales are down 24.8%, right? So really down a quarter overall, which is not as bad as it felt sometimes, but overall, you're seeing that kind of across the country overall. Sales prices were actually held pretty decent. The last 12 months, median price is up 4.4% at 370,000. The overall average sale price is up 6.6% at 471,239. So we were seeing large double-digit growth in terms of price increases. That has in turn slowed down as demand has gone down 25%, right? But the good news is supply is still stayed very, very low. If you look at the overall 12-month average, it's only 2.9 months of inventory. And so it's still very, very, very low overall in terms of that. And so that's just what you want to keep in mind overall. One thing I forgot to get to is condos really quick. Condos, we'll talk about the last 12 months. Condo sales, the last 12-month rolling average is down 23.9% overall. If you look at prices, median price is up 8.2% for condos. We have seen a lot of people who've been priced out of single family homes move to condos, which is why you've seen it do pretty well. The overall median price right now for condos, $238,000, and average sale price up 8.5% at $275,794. And so that's interesting to look there overall. Inventory is still very, very low for condos at 3.1 months of inventory. So you're seeing that same exact thing there overall. And you see a very similar problem with showings and traffic, which is why a lot of properties are sitting so much longer now than they were, because they're just not getting the eyeballs and traffic that they used to. Right now, the average listing on the MLS for a condo gets 2.4 showings, down 17.2%. And the amount of showings it takes to get an offer is 10.5. And so you can see that 10.5 versus 2.4, that's a significant difference there. And that's why many listings, the advertising just falling short. And so if you're thinking about selling in 2024, you want to make sure you have someone who understands marketing, who spends money on marketing, who can drive the traffic, aka eyeballs, to get them to want to look at the property and get them obviously to see that. And to do so, you got to differentiate the property. There's so many ways to do that in terms of photo quality, photo order. We even, changed the colors a little bit to get higher conversion online. There's so many small nuances that you understand when you're selling 500 to 800 homes a year. You learn those nuances very, very easily overall. And so that's going to be driven by interest rates. Interest rates still doing very, very well. I'll give you the quote from today in the mortgage rates. Mortgage rates inch modestly higher from 7-month lows, which is great news overall. We hit all the way down to 6.62%. Right now for a 30-year fixed rate, we're looking at rates right now are 6.63%, which is awesome. It got up last week's show was 6.66%. Right now, a 15-year fixed rate in the fives, which is awesome, 5.96%, which is amazing. I think it's really going to put some gasoline on the fire here in January. So if you're thinking about selling this year, I definitely want to do earlier than later, earlier than usual, right? Because you're seeing so many pent-up demand. Buyers have been waiting since September, October, when rates kind of peaked up very high. Have been waiting to jump back in. You're going to see them get out of this holiday paralysis, we call it, where between Thanksgiving and Christmas, they just kind of get paralyzed. And we make thousands phone calls every single week. And most of the buyers will say, hey, first of the year, first of the year, first of the year. That's what everyone tends to say because they get in that holiday mode. And so you're going to see everyone jump back on the horse. And like I was telling my team, they feel guilty for not doing anything the last 2 months. And so they get back into the groove. And so if you want to think about getting the most amount of money, the most amount of demand, jump on it early, right? Get your property in line, get it in there for January, and make sure you can maximize when these buyers get back off, because what you're going to see is rates are making buyers jump in earlier than usual overall, which is great news overall. Like I said, 30-year jumbo, 6.95, 5-year adjust rate mortgage in ARM, 6.19%, 30-year FHA loan, 6.06%, and a 30-year VA, 6.07%. So great news, interest rates. I think we're going to see a fantastic January because so many buyers are wanting to get back in. Our phones have been blowing up with buyers from all across the Northeast looking to get back in the game because they can afford it now. And so great news there overall. We'll take a quick break. Right back in a second with a hot buyers alert and awesome success stories.
You know a home, buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know what your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start acting that Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking to buy here in the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand area, anywhere from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately. 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One thing I do on the show for a long time, probably 10 plus years, is I had this idea a long time ago. Hey, let's just put our money where our mouth is. All these agents promise all this. I'll just start sharing every single week how many buyers we have that are looking to buy here that are on our website with they have their own username, password, account. Like, these aren't hits. This isn't traffic. These are buyers who we have who are searching our website overall. And so we'd like to share that because, look, we spend tens and tens of thousands of dollars every single month driving traffic online. And so what's happening is our team model, we have a team of specialists. We have a team of about 27 buyers experts that we have, and they're on the phones all day, every day. Like I mentioned in the past, we average about 16,000 phone calls a week to those buyers, and we reach out to them. And our job is to match up buyers and sellers, right? We hustle. We do that overall. And so right now, active home buyers, 74,719 active home buyers, and 74,719 active home buyers. I got from all over. George Bozzo, Pawleys Island, South Carolina. I got Kaylee from Myrtle Beach, Kaylee Streeter from Myrtle Beach. I got Lori Frazier from Lynchburg, Virginia. I got Faith from Salisbury, North Carolina. I got Sun Valley, California, Ontario, Canada, Snow Camp, North Carolina, Houston, Texas, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Rock Hill, South Carolina, Ackworth, Georgia, all over the globe. And so the reality is, if you want a different experience, we have what we call buyers in waiting. And not only do we have buyers in waiting that are looking for a house or property just like yours, we have a sales team that backs that up with 16,000 phone calls a week that hustles, that matches up buyers and sellers. And here's the coolest part. They're incentivized by getting a higher split to sell our listing. So I want them to hustle, because that's what you hired us for, is to actually sell a listing, not just put it to MLS. So if you want to know more how that works, or you know anybody over the holidays you talk to, say, look, call my buddy Blake, save me in your phone. Say, Blake, 843-808-SOLD. Be one of our next success stories. Really quick, a couple quick success stories. John and Brenda had their house listed in Carolina Forest over 6 months. No offers, only a few showings. They had it listed with a friend and were super frustrated with the results. They're moving up to a larger home, but need to sell this one to be able to purchase their dream one. They'd almost given up on their dream home. They're going to stay put with an amazing radio listener, refer them to Blake Sloan and their team. We came in, I identified the problem immediately, which was marketing. It was terrible. We came in, designed a custom plan, custom marketing plan, launched our Globe Marketing Blitz, professional photos, buyers in waiting, the virtuality walkthrough, drove massive traffic, even through the holidays, got John and Brenda an amazing offer right at full price within 1 week. They were blown away and grateful for that. They can now buy their dream home by getting full equity out of their property, which is awesome. Also, Carol found a house in Loris, beginning of the year, great deal to purchase it. His goal is to fix it up and sell it for a profit. When he's finished, looked online, found the best agent, found us, saw our 800 plus reviews, and we met with Carol, showed him all of our buyer lists. He was blown away about what we did. Knew we were the right choice. We came in, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos. In a couple of days, I had Carol a fantastic offer. He put maximum profit in his pocket and is super excited about his next project. So if you want to be our next success story, call us 843-808-SOLD. See you next week.